All right, let's move into the third exercise. In this third exercise, we're going to go ahead and we're going to provision the remote engine and install the remote engine on that second VM. Remember, we have a VM that is prefixed with a remote label, so that's the one we're going to be using. If I was doing this for production work, I would probably want to validate that I have the appropriate hardware, 8 CPUs, 32 gigs of RAM, 256 megabytes of disk, sorry, gigabytes of disk. I went back in the 90s. Anyhow, and make sure that Docker is good to go, right? Before I perform the installation. Okay, we're skipping all these steps. We don't have to do them again. Why? Because the remote VM is pretty much, it's a mirror image of the no-name VM. They both have been provisioned from the same AMI, right? The same image. Okay, so I don't have to do it again. So we're, I don't know, optimizing our delivery. Okay, all right. So the very first thing we're going to do is provision the remote engine. Okay, so let's do it. That's the very first section of this exercise. So let's go to our no-name platform. Remember the no-name platform we installed minutes ago, or at least if you do this one after the other, it is minutes ago. And this is the no-name platform, and we want to provision the remote engine. To do that, we need to go to the settings, all the way down to engines. Settings, engines. Select engines. Here we are. We have access only to the integrated engine. So there's two types of engines, integrated and remote. The integrated engine is the engine that is bundled with all the other no-name components like management, right? It appears under the same system. That's why it's called integrated, okay? Everything else is a remote engine, okay? All right. To add a brand new engine, you type add engine. And as you can see, we have automatic updates, right? Applied only to remote engines that are hosted on servers. Servers, not Kubernetes yet, right? Not Kubernetes, not OVA, okay? So if I select add engine, you will see the different types of remote engines we provide. So you can install the remote engine on a server mode, that is Docker Swarm. If you use Docker Swarm, we will be able to automatically update your remote engines, right? You upgrade your no-name platform, well, we will be able to push the upgrade to your remote engine. It's that no manage component that I showed you earlier on that handles those automatic updates. Uh, the virtual appliance, OVA package, right? Or the Kubernetes, we don't have yet support for automatic updates. Okay? Keep that in mind. Kubernetes is coming though, soon enough. All right, in our case, we're doing server. We need to give it a name. So I'm going to follow the same naming convention, that is kebab case hyphenated, right? And I'm going to call it training hyphen remote. Now I need to provide the engine URL. What the heck does that mean? Okay, what is the URL of the remote engine? Where will traffic should go to, right? And if you pay attention, you have no choice on the path. It's slash engine. It's always slash engine, okay? Because the Nginx router has a routing mapping that says if the path says slash engine, I will redirect traffic to my engine, the engine component, okay? So it is HTTPS colon slash slash, and I'm going to copy and paste the host name, right? The host name that is labeled with the remote prefix. I'm going to paste it. HTTPS, whatever, slash engine. Okay. All right. You're given some information too. Now that I noticed the supported systems, the server must be routable, port 443, the server meets the sizing, everything we were talking about earlier on. Okay. So let's click next. Right. Um, analyze API transaction. That's enabled by default because that's what we want to do, right? We want to discover APIs and so on. Support log-based integrations, right? What does that mean? There are integrations that are log-based. Azure, for example, most of the integrations, if not all, as far as I know, they're all log-based, right? So we are pulling logs out of those corresponding systems. By default, you have all the integrations that are pushing traffic to the no-name platform, to the no-name engine. You want the log-based ones, you have to enable it. Okay. Now the advanced settings. What's the management? The management maps directly to the user interface because that's where pretty much the management is at, right? So you don't have to change that. And then do you have an SSL certificate that is CA signed? If you do, then select this checkbox. Do you go through a proxy? Select this checkbox and provide all the details. Okay. Uncheck both of these for our purpose. That's it, pretty much. That's how you provision a server remote engine. And let's click submit. A couple of things that's going to take place. The very first thing, you get a new row. This is the remote, the training remote. It's unregistered. So that means that the remote engine has not yet, I don't know, checked in. Checked in with life science. That's what it means, right? And there's all kind of different statuses right here. And if you go to this indicator, this informational indicator, I will explain those statuses. Okay. The other thing, however, I would like to explain is that you get a pop-up. It gives you access to a download link, so you can download a package, the remote engine package. I want to warn you, this is an offline package. It's pretty long, and it's an offline package. That means it's going to start downloading gazillions of gigs, right? Well, I wouldn't say gazillions, but it's large, okay? Keep that in mind. And as soon as you download it, then you have to move it to the appropriate system and so on, okay? Or you can use the online package, right? You can use the online package for the no-name platform and the remote engine, and we already have access to the online package, okay? Keep that in mind. The next thing, which is very important to us, is that we're now given access to the command line that we need to execute in order to install the remote engine. So we don't even have to come up. We don't even have to go and check what are the arguments and provide the corresponding arguments. The only thing we need to do is copy and paste this command, right? Now, here's the engine ID. It's already part of the command line, so we don't care about these, right? So we can close. So let's pretend we close this window by mistake. How can I get it back? You need to scroll all the way to the right. You need to identify the, there we go. Now we can scroll to the right. You want to go under the actions column, vertical ellipsis. If you select install, kaboom, you get the window back. Okay, so no biggie. All right, so I'm going to close. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you this indicator so that you can get an idea of what the tooltips are, right? So you have from the unregistered, the engine is created, but is not yet to install the register. And again, registration happens once you start the installation or you complete or some of the components of the remote engine are actually running, right? Not all of them. Online, everything is good to go. Partially online, maybe the logs is not present, right? Is not the component that deals with the logging type of integration is not running. The engine is not running, right? The logs is running and the engine is not running and so on. Okay. The engine component, right? The engine container image. Okay. Offline, not all services are down. Engine has been deleted. Engine is being deleted, but we still detect traffic coming through it, right? So it's a rogue engine and so on. The other thing is you will see, okay, what's the CPU usage, what's the memory usage, and so on. Okay, useful information. Okay, cool. Excellent. So with this, now we have provisioned the remote engine. The only thing we have left is to do the actual installation, but that's going to done. We will do this in the next section, not in this one. Okay. So very first section of this exercise, this walkthrough is done. Section end, guys. Section end. Talk to you to the next.